Hey guys, thank you for listening to my podcast. My name is Lee Boyle. I want to give you a few dates for my band Third Class. June 26th, Warren, Ohio, The Robbins Project. June 27th, Deletto Winery, Canfield, Ohio. July 3rd, Cedars, Youngstown, Ohio. July 17th, 2 shows, Katamu Coffee, Hilliard, Ohio, Avalon, Lima, Ohio. July 25th, Cedars, Youngstown, Ohio. September 11th, Christopher's Downtown, Youngstown, Ohio. September 25th, The Root Cafe, Lakewood, Ohio. October 2nd, The Soap Gallery, Youngstown, Ohio. October 3rd, Nervous Dog, Akron, Ohio. Beginning the Hymns from Some Small Tour, touring for our new vinyl, Hymns from Some Small Town, new-ish vinyl, will be October 23rd, Spirited Goat Cafe, Yellow Springs, Ohio. October 24th, Our Coffee Shop, Wichita, Kansas. October 25th, Mead's Corner, Wichita, Kansas. October 26th, Coffee House, Tulsa, Oklahoma. October 27th, Origins, A Divine Coffee House, Haviland, Kansas. October 28th, Oscars of Hoxie in Hoxie, Kansas. October 29th, Lefties Records, Lincoln, Nebraska. More dates and details to come on thirdclass.net. If you want to laugh, check out bullskit.com, and let's get on with the show. Thanks again for listening.
It's cold in this neck of Ohio tonight, and the style is right for a sad winter song. I feel lost like a speck in a pile out of sight, and though I try with all might, I just don't feel that strong. As we walk through a field trekking on snowy dirt, my eyes start to hurt trying to see you smile, and we talk about fears making our story short. You are scared to get shot, your bravery goes for miles, and there's more miles to go as we walk the train tracks. I think we lost the rain back in the woods we just hiked, and the store signs can glow as you walk sidewalk cracks. I think we lost the town back trading street lamps for kites.
Hey guys, welcome to Nursery, the podcast from Ohio's creative voice. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest in here tonight. Yours truly, me. Anyhow, no, my friend Greg Allison is here. You want to tell him who you are and what the hell it is you do?
My name's Greg. I've been friends with, Steve, your younger brother, for I don't know, it has to be almost 20 years now. Which is weird thinking about. And then been friends with you guys, kind of since then, and done some stuff a little bit of stuff with Bullskit, and but I work in politics personally, so just crazy election stuff.
So as a person in Ohio who's comes from the background of doing silly skits with us on bullskit.com and being a music lover from a small town, what does that make you in the world of politics? Do you stand out, or are you are they Greg's a creative type, or is it more just he's just another guy?
I mean, what I stick out for, I guess, is more my humor, because I'm just so deadpan. It's a really bad nickname, but this one guy I work with calls me Deadpan Greg, just because I'm just he'll just ask me some sort of stupid question, and of course my answer is just going to be no.
yeah,
or something like that.
A long stare and a short no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's just something. I'm just so dry, and also just kind of make dark jokes about whatever. For Easter, I was have a good zombie day. Because Jesus was the original zombie. So.
Yeah.
And they were just God, what's wrong with you?
Okay, and that's another thing, not to get too specific, but if we're working with a lot of people who may or may not be religious, is that something you tread lightly on, or is everybody like you? They're just kind of open and have a sense of humor?
Most people have a sense of humor about it, or at least can appreciate it. I mean, we have to tread lightly, I guess, would be the way. I mean, I don't make a joke with like some person I just met who is, obviously religious or anything. I would have to know them, and even then, the joke would have to be something like accessible. I don't know. You don't just say.
You don't just launch into like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't just say, "You're Catholic. You eat fish on Friday." That's stupid.
Yeah, right. And then, so, and I asked that because, like, just working at any job in Ohio with people that aren't in your inner circle, when you have a sense of humor, can be just like interesting. But so give me a rundown of all the places you've lived working in politics.
This is kind of crazy because like this is all since I graduated in 2012. So I like went to Kent State, did some political stuff around there, and I interned in Columbus too one semester. But since I've graduated in 2012, I've lived in Lancaster, which is in Fairfield County, which is just southeast of Columbus, and then I worked in Dayton for a while, and then I worked in Columbus, and now I'm working in Cleveland.
Nice. So, what did you? I'm sure you didn't have time all the time to just go out and catch a show at a bar, or just catch random things. But would you pick up as far as arts communities per each of those cities?
Lancaster had like it had some stuff going for it. It had like cool small businesses that were doing pretty well. That were kind of like. They had like good food. It wasn't just like your regular fast food burger joint or anything like that. They had stuff going for it. Dayton had a lot of like cool artsy kind of stuff going for it, and like just a lot of community events. Like I was there for Halloween this past year actually, and they had like the whole like row. It's called the Oregon District, and it's like where all the like cool hip bars are, and they like had it all gated off. You just paid like $10 again, and you got into all the bars, sort of thing.
That sounds good, yeah.
Yeah,
because those all seem like, what was that Irish pub that I tried to book?
Yeah, the Dublin pub.
Yeah, Dublin pub, and all those down that drag all sound awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool, and they like had like they turned a parking lot into like a place for concerts and stuff.
Nice.
So they had a bunch of like shows and stuff, and like it was like sponsored by a lot of like bigger companies, so you can tell like a lot of different like local stuff was like getting involved. So it was pretty cool, and so Dayton was cool. Columbus, it has of course the college and everything.
Yeah.
And then like the Short North has like the cool hip, has record stores and cool coffee shops. Jenny's Ice Cream, which has a bunch of like amazing ice cream, like goat cheese pomegranate ice cream kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like
that place is cool.
Yeah,
like spicy ice cream and stuff like that.
It's like way more interesting than you'll get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then of course Cleveland, like we both known Cleveland for a while. It's nothing. Cleveland. It's nothing new, but there's always something cool. Like and then we went to your show last week, but before that, me and Craig and Steve, we all went to the Cleveland Film Festival. We went and saw a movie there. And, like, the guy who the movie was about was actually there to answer questions and stuff.
Do you remember his name, or do you remember what the movie was titled?
It's called Call Me Lucky. Let me Google it. Okay. But it was just, like, this one guy who was just a political comedian from, like, the 80s, I guess. Mm-hmm. And he kind of, like, helped jumpstart a lot of like comedians. Like there was that Mark Maron guy was like in it, and so was Patton Oswalt, a bunch of like cool people. That Bobcat Goldthwait, he like directed the movie. He directed the movie. Let me see.
Well, that's kind of neat because people listening that aren't from Ohio, one really cool thing about Ohio is exactly what Greg's describing. It's like there might not be like A-list celebrities swarming every arts scene, but if you happen upon something like a documentary about someone you all of a sudden become fascinated about, or you happen upon an album that you're all of a sudden like, who are these guys? Chances are chances are, like, if they're small enough, they're just, like, right next to you. You know, like, they're like, it's like, here's the guy who was in that movie. He's here now to sign an autograph and answer a question, you know?
And we have a lot of cool artists from Northeast Ohio who made it big. The Black Keys are from Akron.
Yeah.
Jessica Lee Mayfield's from Kent.
Tool is from Akron.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not that I threw you
Just
off here.
up.
Yeah, I threw off your naming cooler. No.
Kid Cudi's from Shaker Heights in Cleveland.
That's right.
There's a bunch of different people.
Lots of crazy stuff. Like, not to mention, Molly Shannon has a house in Cleveland or something crazy. Like,
Yeah, I think she's also from Shaker Heights. There's like a bunch of weird people from Shaker Heights.
And not that it's surprising. Everybody's got to be from somewhere, but like, I'm excited about all the movies that are either shot in the Pittsburgh, Cleveland areas or things that are based in Ohio. There's a lot of movies and shows that either shout out Ohio a lot or are based in Ohio. Like Ed O'Neill in Modern Family talks about Youngstown and Cleveland often in the show and stuff.
For How I Met Your Mother, Ted Mosby's like his
he's from Columbus. But
well,
his character's
the actors
from Cleveland.
From, yeah, because I think one of the writers is also from Shaker Heights.
Right.
And then Tina Fey's husband's also from Shaker Heights. I don't get it.
Yeah.
There's something weird about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, because it's not that there aren't other people from lots of other places, obviously, but it's definitely a breeding ground for people who write themselves, you know, out of a corner because they're bored in Ohio, or or they just happen to live in a creative community and it's small enough that they can really you always find, no matter where you are in Ohio, you will always find other like-minded people. It's cliquey, but in a good way. You're like, oh, you like music too? I'll go to see, what did you get? You went and saw like Death Cab for Cutie in Columbus with friends and stuff. Like, it's like, you always find friends at Kent State that are like, I like the same music, or close enough to the same music, or going to some, you know, just basically walk by the Fashion Building or Bowman Hall in Kent, you're going to find a friend if you like art and stuff. And
definitely.
Yeah, and you mentioned, he played Mayhall's 20 Lanes, a bowling alley / music venue in Lakewood, Ohio, which Lakewood in itself is
Lakewood's cool.
Is that Western Cleveland? Whatever.
Yeah, it's the west side. Yeah,
and that in itself has cool stuff like good Thai food, good music, and stuff like that. But we're going to play in May. We're playing 2 shows on May 1st in Yellow Springs, Ohio, and Eaton. Do you have any advice for me as far as like what Dayton is like? Like, is it like what we should see if we have a moment?
Yellow Springs is actually really cool. It's like. It's kind of like how Kent is, where it's a small, cool, hip, liberal area within the surrounding it's like pretty like conservative, not much there. But like Yellow Springs, that's where Dave Chappelle is from. He lives there. Oh yeah, okay. And like there's a bunch of cool hip places. I think they have like a really good ice cream place there. Young's Dairy. I think it's Young's Dairy is like around there. Cedarville University is right down the road. Eaton's just kind of the middle of nowhere.
Eaton's like, the venue that we booked is called Taffy's, and I mentioned to somebody that somebody in a band called Worms and the Decomposers, and I was like, I'm playing in Eaton, and she was like, Taffy's the music mecca of the universe, and I was like, how'd you guess? And she's like, because that's the only venue there.
Yeah, it is.
So that was interesting. We've never, weirdly enough, for all the years we've been doing it, we haven't been in that neck of Ohio. It's really odd, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, Southwest Ohio is it's pretty good. I liked living at least in the Dayton area. Cincinnati is whatever for me. I mean,
I'm sure it's cool, but like anytime we've passed through promoting through Cincinnati, not playing a show, we played Athens a lot and other southern Columbus and whatever, but being in Cincinnati, I was always like, I don't get it. There's probably a spot, there's probably a drag that's similar to what you're describing.
I think it's in Kentucky. That's the weird thing about Cincinnati. All the cool stuff's in Kentucky.
It is, because we played Lowville a bunch of times. We played that like seriously almost 10 times, and that's a pretty cool. I mean, the downtown sucks, but most cities that's the case these days. The downtown isn't great, and then you find this one little drag that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
like. It's just outside of town where things don't close at 7 p.m. You know, every time you go downtown, it's like coffee's closed at 7 p.m., food is closed at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
But, okay, well then, speaking of, me mentioning you going to concerts and stuff like that, I guess I want to throw in one of the traditional questions I've asked in past episodes. What would you be stuck with on an island if you had only one song to be stuck with?
So when I've heard other people say this, they say, I want to listen to one really long, beautiful song.
Yeah.
That's stupid. I'm going to listen to a song that I can listen to over and over again, and I know because I have listened to it over and over again.
Oh, okay. And you're not sick of it.
Yeah, I'm not sick of it. I never will. And the song that pops in my head is Holland 1945 by Neutral Milk Hotel.
Okay. Which one is it? Can you sing me just a piece or which track is that? Is that the fast
it's
one?
It's the fast one. It starts.
That's a good song. I like
it's a good song. Yeah. The other ones that popped in my head were Backseat Freestyle by Kendrick Lamar.
I don't think I know that.
Oh, I'll play that for you.
That's cool.
I love Kendrick Lamar. He's
good. I like him. I think I've only heard real quick through that album that has a song Compton on it, whichever one.
Yeah, yeah. I think
is that on that album?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay, maybe I've heard it. He's good. I guess you wouldn't get sick of it because his flow is unique enough that it kind of balances. It's not just rhyme A B A B. It's a lot of internal rhymes.
And I kind of just feel BA listening to it. I don't know.
BA. That's so BA, dude. LOL.
Yeah.
Lolcats.
He's like one of the few rappers right now where it's like, oh, he actually comes from the streets. Most people are like, like Drake and like, even though I like Kid Cudi, he's like the same thing where they're like come from like good areas.
Yeah, Shaker Heights is a really like kind of rich area in Ohio.
Yeah. And and Drake was like on Degrassi, and it's like,
oh, that's right.
You're not. And they try to act like they're, like from the streets, and like you're not from the streets.
Yeah. I guess it's not. It's like obviously you and I don't know. We know next to nothing about California, but I guess you see Dr. Dre endorsing Kendrick Lamar. And you're like, he's doing like he did in NWA, where he's like, I like this guy because not only because he's just good, but also because he's kind of talking about the exact same neighborhood I came from. Yeah,
or Tupac is like, if like he was still around, he would be
He'd
like,
probably like it.
Oh yeah.
He'd be like,
pretty similar in a lot of ways.
He'd be like, you're rapping about Compton. Compton is basically the equivalent of like East Palestine, Ohio, as far as what the fame of it was before Dr. Dre put a stamp on it and all that. And I don't know much, but like just culturally rapping about something that is now very relevant, I guess is important. But okay, so those are good choices. If you're choosing shorter songs, but you just guarantee you're not gonna get sick of them, that's pretty good. Neutral Milk's good. I gotta hear more of them. You and me talked about this, but I need to hear. It's just the one album, more or less, right? It's not much.
They have like two albums.
Couple albums, okay.
And I saw them in concert, and they played from both. Everyone just wants to hear from In the Airplane Over the Sea, but I was glad they threw in stuff from the other album. It just like, it would have been like short, because it's like a 30-minute album or something.
I need to just plug in and hear some of that, because it's just like. It's so, in certain circles, it's like the equivalent of like somebody unzipping someone's pants and finding a micro penis. When my knowledge of music is as such. Yeah. People think because I play that I'll know. I don't know crap, man. When it comes to real like people that are like music people, they think I'll have all this info on underground stuff, and the truth is I haven't made the time.
What's that one rap group you just listen to over and over again and tell you whatever Rex or whatever?
What is it? Oh, Jurassic 5.
Oh,
right. Exactly. That's a perfect example. It's like I sit in. It's like you'd think that I would have some cultural stimulation with all this stuff, creative things you and me and our friends do.
Yeah.
And all I do is just watch like. Well, you do this too, but watch Hot Rod over and over again. The movie with Andy Samberg, and then watch. I've seen like. The series of Seinfeld a couple times, and then listen to Jurassic 5's second album over.
We've watched Zoolander so many times.
Zoolander over and over again. Yeah, it's like when I could be exploring some new terrain for once. And Neutral Milk Hotel is not new. Peppy and I ran into this on the other podcast. We're talking about Bjork and Sigur Rós. They were new.
They're from like 1999. Or
right.
Something. They just like weren't famous then and kind of like became famous with the digital age and all the music you find online. But still, they've been around forever.
Yeah, that's exactly a testament to like my lack of knowledge, my micro penis, if you will, of knowledge of of music. Because there's lots of stuff that just came out this year that I love, but I'm out. I should know more. Like I love Rah Rah Riot. I like all their albums. I usually tend to like at least most of the tracks per album. I like current stuff. Like who's that dude that everybody's talking? Big Data. That's good stuff.
Oh,
good electronic.
I did hear that once.
Yeah, somebody just told me about it that I worked with in Cleveland. And, gotta find stuff like that. But
I go through phases where I will, like last year, I just like, I think at the beginning of the year, I found something, a few things, and I just stuck with like those few things for the whole year. So like at the end of last year, I was like, man, I need to listen to some new stuff, man. So I just kind of like went out and looked for some different stuff and kind of, I guess, got attached to it. And I mean, I'm not listening to them to death. I'm throwing in more and more stuff, luckily. And luckily there's a lot more new music from like the bands I like than last year. Right. Like Death Cab just came out with a new album, and I think the Mountain Goats are coming out with a new album. So luckily we're kind of getting infused with some new stuff.
And there's some throwback stuff that's becoming more relevant, kind of in the vein of what you're talking about with Neutral Milk, where now more and more, very slowly, a guy, Daniel Johnston, is becoming very relevant, who started in the 80s. And he always was relevant since early 90s, but I think just timing, culmination, and some digital, access has made him more like, oh, it's cool to actually hear these old recordings of him screwing around on the piano as a kind of basically just a 20-year-old or something. Yeah. And be like, oh, that's passable? Like, he can just be sloppy and on a tape recorder in his parents' house? And like anything's good. It's kind of like, I really don't want this to become a fan cast, but on the Jay and Silent Bob Get Old podcast that Kevin Smith always references watching Slacker by Richard Linklater, and he's like, this counts as a movie? I can make Clerks. And that's how I feel about like certain artists like Daniel Johnston or Beck's early stuff or Calvin Johnson. Definitely. Like all those bands, I'm like, that works, then we're fine, man. We can be sloppy as long as the message comes through and you have soul. I guess you're allowed to be sloppy, and it's okay sometimes, I'm like really glad that we have stuff like Spotify where we're able to find this stuff. Before it was like you had to dig really, really deep to like through a record store or something to find this stuff. And now I can just like go on a radio, I don't know, put in some random band's radio on Spotify and find some really cool new stuff. Oh, guys, a tip for, not that I'm on top of the pile here, but a tip for anybody who's a musician in Ohio. I go on Spotify and I play my band Third Class, not to be vain, but I play them and then I hit start radio if you happen to use Spotify. And then, I've done that before. And then you find a lot of bands that tend to be at least in the vicinity of the area because I think its algorithm is based on not only genre but the same listeners, and a lot of them of course happen to be Ohio fans, and then let alone that they might even regionally use an algorithm. I'm not sure how that complicated thing works, but I find other bands and then I drop them emails and I'm like, do you want to use us as an opening act? Because like apparently the same people like us, so even if neither of us drew for the other immediately, we might build something quick because the same people apparently are listening on Spotify. I never thought about that. That's like it's not a good way to build relationships with the people. It's not something that's going to be some big, oh, this is a eureka moment, but it's definitely something where you can find out. It's a good way to get more new shows that you probably didn't have before. So. Right, and it's more colorfully exemplified than like Google Analytics is. It's more like, oh, right away I see this music equals maybe some of this music. Okay, well then, so we mentioned earlier religious jokes. What would you say overall as an Ohioan you'd classify yourself as religiously? It's so complicated because like I guess I was like raised Methodist, which we all went to that same church or whatever. But like I don't go to church or anything.
And it's like, I guess the best way to put it is stupid history thing. But Thomas Jefferson once wrote a Bible where it was if you took all the teachings of Jesus, but subtracted all of the, like, I guess you would call it the maybe not hocus pocus, but like all the like miracles and all that sort of stuff. So it just like is the teachings of Jesus, and it's like don't steal, don't be a douche, you know. So it's like, you know, I like took that stuff, but like I guess the like hell and all that sort of stuff I don't really put a lot of into it. So I guess I'm just a ethical Christian would be the way to put it.
Yeah, you take all the mystical out of it, and then it's just a list of neat rules about like treat others how you want to be treated, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I wish people would do that more.
Yeah,
and people would just stop reading the Old Testament. It's just like
I heard that on podcast Harlan Highway with Harlan Williams, and he was like more people need to just get up, just read a couple of the commandments and then move on. He's like, I'm not saying this as a Christian. He's like, just read them because they're good, right? Yeah. You know, most of them make sense.
There's a few good things in there, and surrounded by a lot of stuff that is either, you know, anti-gay or says you can do slavery,
right.
and then there's the love your neighbor and all that sort of stuff, and it's like, why can't people just focus on that? And that's what I focus on anyway.
And for the most part, it seems that a lot of people do.
Then I ask you about the snow in your hair and the miracles happening everywhere in a town that seems to never care, and they blow right past in their despair without me. I know that I could help them see. Without me, I know that I could help them see. Why do you have to plug that upside down Jesus like all in? Now you've gone to town with it trying to cure my sins. Into the sky, I think I fly when I'm ready and I don't need God. At least not the same when you speak of, he sounds like a snob. Why you acting sad when the styles you never knew? You're acting sad even though I'm close to you. You're acting sad and just like that I'm acting sad too. Why you acting scared when you know there's nothing there? You're shivering when I killed all your nightmares. You're acting scared and just like that I'm acting scared too.
That kind of reminded me, just a quick little story I wanted to tell. Not really a sequential story, but just a story that is neat. Almost most Christmases for the past decade or more, we've had this weird giggle problem where we go.
We're terrible.
Yeah, we go to church in East Palestine for the midnight service or the early 7 p.m. something that's nighttime service where they light a candle and they talk about Bethlehem and they do their Christmas service, and it's almost every year I can think of was pretty much a wonderful service, and but
we just ruined it.
But it's like, and we always have, we've liked all the pastors and the congregation and the choir. Everybody there is awesome. And I see a lot of people I know from school and from work and whatever, and this and that.
But we can't stop looking at Leviticus, whatever it is.
Yeah, we just get the giggles, and it's so obvious. And I've seen it's so embarrassing. I've seen the pastor
my mom gets
look
so
at us.
Angry at me.
Yeah, his mom's there, my mom's there. And it's so bad because it's not the giggles because we're in a church. It's the giggles because, like, when you get the giggles when you do the Pledge of Allegiance, or when you're like, when the teacher's like, everybody shut up, and then all of a sudden, simply because you're supposed to be serious, something gets funny.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It's almost you almost can't define it. I can't quite put my finger on what we're laughing at, but it's because everyone's being solemn.
Yeah.
And I know I've heard plenty of cases of people that say they get giggles at funerals and they feel so embarrassed, but it's definitely a tension release thing that just happened to culminate at a random point. It's not like that we're it's not like we're like sitting there laughing at religion. We're being like, these guys are silly and we're the outside crowd. It's not really like that as much as it sounds like it from these podcasts. But yeah, that's always an issue. Christmas giggles has become a tradition, and I think that's a good anecdote to just define like our personalities, because that's kind of our whole life, is it making jokes that are most definitely off color, and trying to keep it between us because we don't want to actually publicize them, but yeah, like that's our thing, and that's plenty of people's things, but I just want to admit that, because that's, if you hear something twisted in our voices in these podcasts, that's why. Because we're crazy. We're insane.
No.
No. No.
We are completely normal?
We're normal. Mr. Deadpan over here. Hey, drinks on Deadpan, everyone. This guy's all right. That's like what happened with your coworkers.
I prefer Keg Allison.
Yeah. His nickname was Keg Allison or Greg Stand Allison or Keg Stand Greg Stand Allison or.
Which I don't. It's so stupid that it was Keg Stand Greg, and for like the longest time, and it took like till like it was the last day of my senior year of high school. They're like, wait a second, Keg and Greg rhyme. Keg Allison, oh my god.
It's Keg Allison over here. You guys remember Keg Allison? He did a keg stand. Well, he didn't even
barely even do one. We were just at a, what was it, Anna Baker's party. Well, you weren't there, but we were just at like a party, and these like high school kids were like, Greg, you're going to do a keg stand. They like all lifted me up, and I was like, I don't drink. And then they like, and instead of just putting me down gently, they just dropped me on the ground.
Oh.
But they like, for some reason, I don't know, they were just, they just associated me and the keg, not the fact that I didn't drink from the keg.
Yeah, right.
But they were like, Keg Stand Greg.
It was just too good not to embellish on in their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I can see a movie scene where like everybody's like, Greg.
It was totally like Superbad or something like that.
They hold you upside down. And you're like, Greg. And then you're like, I don't drink. And then they drop you immediately and it goes silent.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Keg Stand Greg over here. That's what they sound like, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There's so many weird things in high school where just stuff like that happened. I don't know.
Dude.
It probably like could have been way cooler if I drank in high school, but I didn't.
Yeah, I
didn't drink.
I always wonder about things like I was like very much so not sociable in any way in high school.
Yeah,
and, like,
I wasn't either.
And I always imagine like, would that mean I would have peaked too soon if I was? Am I okay because of that, or did I just miss out big time on like having more fun?
Everyone would be talking about, I don't know, what did people listen to, Usher or whatever. I was like,
Nelly.
Yeah, and then I was like, what about that new Sigur Rós album and the Shins? They're great. And they were like, we're not in college yet. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, you got like ruined by accident through like knowing Steve and us and stuff.
You just gave me the complete Radiohead and Sigur Rós.
Yeah, right.
And since like Brandon was in college a couple years before like I was, and he had that. Remember that MTVU channel?
Yeah,
where
we watched that constantly.
Yeah,
we were like, dude, the Kooks. There's a new Kings of Leon. It was like those bands are big, but it wasn't high school material for whatever reason.
I just listened to the Shins and Peter Bjorn and John way too early.
We messed you. We were being idiots. Like we were like, check this out.
I know,
and it's not even that different from what the high school kids listen to, but it was just associated with college radio.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, and, right. Like totally had me prepared for college, but at the same time, there was just a couple miserable years where I was in high school and could not associate with them whatsoever.
Yeah. And then my brother is he's a longtime friend of yours. You mentioned for like 20 years or so.
Yeah,
and he was homeschooled, so it didn't make it any easier on that front.
But it's weird. Like, he got because he was homeschooled. Everyone was like, Steve. Like he was popular in first grade, so because he's been popular ever since.
He went on the football team for a season and went to all the dances, and they were like, Steve-O, hey, it's Steve-O, it's your friend Greg Allison. He's a wild guy, man. He didn't do a keg stand. It was insane.
He like actually went to more school functions than I did or something. Because he went to I didn't go to the dances except for like a couple. Right. I went to prom and whatnot, but like I didn't go to homecoming or anything. Right. But he went to like every single one.
Yeah, man, he did. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's pretty awesome. Anything else you want to add before we tag out?
Did we miss any questions though?
I was trying to get away from the traditions, but if there's one you'd like to answer, go all in, man. What do you think? Right? Do you want to you want me to just
do them?
Go for it. Just shoot them at you and you give me quick ones? Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it.
What do you think of when you think of the word nursery?
I think of your old house. Because when I think about whenever I drive like on 14th, like where I would go past your old house, I just think about I drove this way so many times to get to your house
to watch
Hot Rod over and over again. Rest of the
Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future, all together. Yeah, that was awesome. He's speaking of Columbiana, Ohio. Yeah. Okay, then what do you think of Ohio?
I do really like Ohio. I know everyone says that in this podcast, but I do. It's cool because, the three big cities, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati. It's cool because, like, you get different taste for each city. Like, Cleveland's a total East Coast city. Columbus is your typical Midwest college town, and Cincinnati's almost like a southern city. So you get a little bit different than, like, anywhere else. Northeast is my favorite part, obviously, because I grew up here, but I also love the blue-collarness of it. But, I like, everywhere I've lived in Ohio, I've liked. And I've been to, like, completely different parts of Ohio.
So. We have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, baby. That got to mean something.
I don't know. I haven't been there in a while.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Last time you went there, wasn't my mom angry or something? Was that the one with you, or was that Brandon? Like,
I can't remember.
There was like somewhere. My mom's pretty nice, and Steve drove her to like just swear at him and scream at him.
Isn't that every time?
Probably every time. Yeah. It was like he like dangled her keys over the edge of a parking lot thing or something. And, I'm getting this totally wrong. You're
the only person that like drives your mom crazy anymore because you're like, I'm gonna hit you in the head with a ping pong ball.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, now it's a little bit calmer, I suppose. But yeah, we drive her crazy.
Yeah.
And then I guess that was it because you answered religion and music.
Yeah.
So, any plugs or any weird things like that, or
bullskit.com, check it out.
Bullskit.com, check it out. Thirdclass.net, summercampsteve.com.
And speaking of Summer Camp Steve, the Orange Avocado.
This podcast is sponsored by the Orange Avocado, providing gluten-free and raw materials for things. It's go online and check out facebook.com/theorangeavo.
Do that. Do that.
That, my friend.
Thirdclass.net.
Thirdclass.net.
The new album's really good.
Go on thirdclass.net and order the vinyl album. It's $15 plus shipping.
It's amazing. It actually is really good.
Yeah.
Just saying.
This guy right here is a fan.
I am a fan.
If that doesn't make you a fan, then you don't have a heart. You're just a soulless robot.
Seriously, though, every album that you've come out has been better than the last one.
Yeah, I appreciate that because a lot of people have told me that, and I like it because we've gotten slower every time and softer every time, and I'm happy that people aren't like, you guys turned into a bunch of pussies.
If you could see what our lives grew to be, I think you would be proud of me.
I mean, you have.
We have, but I like that people like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then just, if you have a message from my mom, just say our little, look, Mom, we're on a podcast, and maybe add a tag. And since you actually are a few that know her.
Right.
A few that know her.
KB, make a pizza, but have Jack make the crust.
Jack make the crust. He's better at making the crust. No offense to you. You're good at other things.
But your banana bread is just delicious. Please make more.
More banana bread.
And, Jerry, we're on a podcast, or it's a podcast about nothing.
It's a podcast about nothing.
It's a podcast about nothing.
Hey, this is a podcast about nothing. I really can't do the voices.
Neither of us can.
What's the deal with podcasts? It's not in a pod, and I'm not wearing a cast.
That's the deal with grape nuts. No grapes, no nuts.
No. He's a close talker. He gave me the hello wave in the elevator.
But I don't want to wear a pirate outfit or whatever.
I don't want to be a pirate. That's funny though. I said that. Uh-oh, it's Kramer. What antics is he up to now? Is that how he talks?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Look, Mom, we're on the podcast.
Yeah, Mom, you jerk. Nursery is sponsored by the Orange Avocado, an alternative bakery specializing in gluten-free and raw materials, and by the Speaking of Music show, an audio editorial program that dives deep behind the curtain of music culture of yesterday and today. Check out Speaking of Music's YouTube channel. If you're a music junkie, you're going to love the conversations these guys have. My friend Jimmy Fro, who also runs the Jimmy Fro Indie Music Show, is part of the entourage. You're going to enjoy it.
We all know the sound that a cow makes. Why do we have to write a song? We all know what a cow makes.
makes milk. I'll say moo at the end, okay?
Oh, that's when he knocks it over. Yeah, that's awesome.
When's Steve coming?
I'm not sure. I told him he should just catch a ride with Jack, and Jack works at 5.
So 4-ish or...
But I don't know if he'll catch that ride or not. I think he will. Peppy's off at 4, so...
Okay. You can just watch some shit. Or
Yeah.